What, you think I'm fucking joking? That's what happened.
It very much is, yes.
Have you tasted how salty it is? It's enough to just send you out of this dimension.
Jeez. Alright, Space Paranoids. Not the song I would choose for a River Merchant game, but hey-ho.
So this one has a very weird, you're not going to get it because it's asked you to play on Proud Mode, but essentially it says you need to jump 24 times or less.
Yes.
Which basically means never jump more than necessary because there are exactly 24 jump points in the song. It's a strange one. I didn't have any trouble with it because I never ever touch the jump button unless there's a jump thing coming up. Because I stay away from that. But I know, if, like, as you say, Tom, like, for some of those triple notes, you'll press the jump button. This is one where it's like, no, you can't do that.
Well, you can get around that by just gliding over them.
That is true. The other tactic, which is what I ended up doing, because when I first played it, I wasn't sure whether they were going to be mean and have more jumps than the limit. So what I did was just right towards the end, I just tanked a couple of the jumps. So jumps where you need to jump to avoid getting hit. So like one of those, I just tanked it and then was fine.
I trusted them enough to be like, they'll probably make it work that if you don't miss any, you'll be good. And boy, geez, is it the exact number.
Yeah, I just have trust issues, so...
So, Space Paranoids, how do we feel Tron was represented in Kingdom Hearts 2 Tenor?
The fact it's represented at all is kind of crazy because it's one of those things that I feel like if it wasn't for Kingdom Hearts bringing it back up along with, like, the Tron 2.0 Game Boy Advance game and, like, I feel like nobody would talk about it without it. I feel like we wouldn't even have got, the resurgence with Tron Legacy or the TV show there. Without it reminding us that, hey, this kind of cool cyber world exists.
Now, I think that we probably would have gotten something, if only because Tron sits in a very strange place in cinematic history, in just all the crazy stuff that they did to get the film working.
Oh, yeah.
Another kind of plug for... Disney prop culture on Disney Plus. They have a really great Tron episode.
Oh, I'd love to watch that because if you've ever watched Tron, it's like the original. It is a weird movie visually.
It is.
When you watch it, it really feels like you're peering into another world. So that'd be a really interesting documentary to watch because you look at some of the stuff they're doing and you're like, how would you even do that?
Oh, it's crazy. And also, like, one of the things is the standard approach to a lot of filmmaking at the time was that you used matte paintings for some of the bigger things. There was actually only one matte painting in the entirety of Tron, and it is in an office, and you can't tell that it's a matte painting. It's ridiculous.
Like an office in the human world?
That is the only matte painting in the entire film.
Oh.
Everything else that's was either filmed in camera normally or was done with the computers. Another really cool thing that I would suggest doing is that so the Corridor crew, the team behind Corridor Digital, they did an episode relatively recently where they challenged themselves to effectively recreate the light cycle sequence as they perhaps would have made it at the time. And it's a really cool look into how early CGI worked. And then they also looked at what can you do with modern day technology to try and recreate that same vibe but with more contemporary tools. And that is a really cool episode to watch.
Yeah, because, like, what year was Tron? It was, like, very early.
Tron is 1982.
Yeah, it's a 1982 movie. Like, that's... For it to look like that and even have the CGI in it is incredible, especially when, you look at how the CGI is done, and it's basically inputting numbers into a computer. Like, there's no visual element to it like we would have now, which I don't even know how you would think to do that.
Neither do I. It's crazy, and the fact that it even managed to exist is insane and so very awesome. I mean, the other thing that's really cool, like, ridiculous amount of work, and they were absolutely stupid, but the fact that they went to the effort of it is great, is that to get the glowing lines on all of the costumes is effectively, so they shot it in black and white, and then had so many different versions of the frames and coloured over bits and then laid them all up to get that glow, and it's ridiculously complicated. They had like trucks and trucks and trucks of the film cells to get that effect, and it's insane the amount of effort, but it's so cool.
Big fan of both Tron the movie and the world in KH2. It might actually be my favourite world, because not only does it's fun to play, let's just put it that way, but it ties Tron into the world of Kingdom Hearts more efficiently than most of them, really.
I just want to shout out, though, I found an article that says, Jared Leto confirms Tron 3 is still in the works, and I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. When was this article? Oh, 2017.
Yeah. Oh, nice. We're into the end game now, lads.
And we're on a time limit, so hurry up.
Alright. Well, I want to include the 2 songs from Recoded. There are literally only 2 songs.
Very ethereal music here in The World That Never Was, which is a great name.
Oh, it is. It's a fantastic name.
I suppose this is where we'll start to get those specific materials for crafting Terra's thing and whatnot.
And remember, you can use some of the crystals there to even use half of them if you need to.
So how did you feel, Richie, when you originally got to the end game of KH2?
I thought it was really, really, really very awesome. I do distinctly remember when I first played the game, I was, I think, quite underleveled. So I remember getting to Xigbar and having an absolute nightmare against that fight. Because I just wasn't high enough level. So it was perhaps a little bit more frustrating the first time I experienced it than I perhaps would have liked. But when I returned to it to do my playthrough, it was just like, oh, this is just great. And even though that fight is a challenge, it's a really cool visual style for a world, and conceptually it is also really cool. So I do really like The World That Never Was.
It's almost like a better version of Castle Oblivion in terms of that, like, white world concept. And also, I'm listening to this song, and it kind of sounds like a Metroid Prime song.
You're right, it's the choir bits that are kicking off.
Could just imagine Samus going around this area. God, that'd be rad.
Yeah. Not quite as high a rank as I would have liked there, but they really were asking a lot from some of the note layouts, so I'll go back and I'll do that. I'm proud and whatnot.
Still an A+, which is, hey, that's a good rate. I mean, if I got that on a test, I'd be happy.
Well, you see, Tanner, I haven't experienced many A+ in my time.
Don't worry, me neither. C's get degrees.
You're a fucking teacher. You have a future.
I know, and I stand by that. C's get degrees.
Fair enough. God, we're gonna fucking die. Yeah, deep drive, baby!
Good battle theme.
Great battle theme.
which you'll definitely hear if you're trying to grind up some of those forms there, which is probably my least favorite part of KH2. I just feel like they made the criteria so specific, where it's like, not only do you need to kill enemies, you need to kill them in this form, you know, and it has to be a specific type of enemy, and it's like, oh, well, you know, and I sure hope they don't lock away abilities behind an enemy that you don't fight too often, being the nobodies. It's like, oh, okay, I see.
It's not great. I mean, also, Final Form is amazingly cool. It's just a pain that it doesn't unlock the ability to unlock it until after a very specific point in the world that never was. And then your chances of getting it are all tied up in terms of dealing with anti-form and all of that jazz, and it's such a low chance of unlocking it that it's just like, oh god, this is mean.
I know some people don't really like the form changes that are in Kingdom Hearts 3 because, you know, they're a bit more specific, they're not as cool as just Red Sora dual wielding, you know, but I think it's just, it takes away so much of the worries about using them. You can just have fun and use them. It's like, oh, what's that? Are you in a battle? Don't worry about saving your meter. Just use it!
Yeah, and I think that's what makes that work so much more effectively on a gameplay level, because, yeah, you don't end up doing that thing of just not using up your super powerful ability because you're waiting for a boss fight, and just allows a lot more freedom with how you play.
I'm really bad for, it's like, oh, is this a thing that uses a meter, or is something that can be depleted? Guess I'll never use it until a boss fight, and even then, who knows, there might be a second phase, so don't use it now anyways. It's like, I'm bad for that, and people scream at me, especially my playthroughs of stuff, being like, use your thing, and it's like, but what if there's something that needs it later?
Yeah, full chain, baby! Every second we're not clearing this, Richie is only getting closer.
His just whole house is moving towards yours.
Alright, what we got here? Ho 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 ho.
This is a good one.
Clever little sneak.
Was anyone else kind of surprised when they heard Xigbar speak what voice he had? Because it's such a weird, like, surfer voice that you wouldn't expect it, I feel.
Huh. Do you think that was the point?
Probably, yeah.
Maybe. He is such a unique sound.
Xigbar is not what he seems, so to have a voice that doesn't really mesh with his, like, supposed appearance. Yeah.
It definitely makes you go, what's up with this guy? A bit more than the others. Because all the others, it's like, they're fairly stock standard sort of, I don't want to say tropes, but, you know, characters. I mean, you're not looking for deeper stuff from Lexius, am I right?
I like Lexius.
And that's fine, but you're not gonna get a deep thing from him aside from, I don't know, a couple of his quotes in Days there.
God, that went on for a while. By the way, if you're wondering why Alias and Dylan didn't speak in KH3, it's because their voice actors passed away in Japan.
Oh, yeah, that's a thing. When voice actors pass away, they usually don't have them have a speaking role in something until they find an official successor, usually, which is, well, I appreciate the sentiment, I also think it's like, okay, but it's not like that for all regions.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's a very Japan-centric thing, and all due respect to the Dearly Departed, but you're making a product here.
Yeah, because I mean, the same thing happened with Phil in Kingdom Hearts 3, didn't it?
Yes, it did.
It was bad for Phil because he's so boisterous. Like, to hear him not talk is weird.
And I think what's probably the strangest is that obviously both Leonard Nimoy and the Japanese voice actor for Master Xehanort, I think they both died relatively close to each other, so obviously they kind of had to replace them for for Kingdom Hearts 3, and obviously Rutger Hauer died as well before the Remind DLC came out, so then we've got Christopher Lloyd.
I don't know why people are complaining about, like, how Xehanort's defeat was handled. The fucker died, like, twice in real life. How much more do you want?
At last, Sora, Riku,
Yes, it's me,
were reunited.
Riku.
I like how, Riku kind of turning into, Ansem, Seeker of Darkness there, is almost like Buff Riku turned into a real meme, into a real thing.
Oh, Lord Christ. Can't get that image out of my head now, Tanner, thank you.
You're welcome.
Suppose it makes up for the you-know-what earlier. Alright, the finale of Kingdom Hearts 2, and then I'm going to do the code and stuff, because it's a couple of things. Don't kill me, Richard.
I am totally going to kill you.
Okay, that's fair.
The house continues approaching!
Scraping up against my back door. Don't take that out of context again. Enjoyed the show, fellas. I'm going to be concentrating on this bar at the bottom here.
I played this with the Days team, and it's so weird seeing them fighting, because it's gameplay in the background, seeing them properly fighting Xemnas here. I was like, huh, that's a unique sort of thing you don't expect to see.
I mean, also the fact that, once again, Donald and Goofy are here, and they were definitely not here the last time.
No, they weren't. They got cooked hard out of the finale. God, I love Zebra Xemnas, and that's a hard thing to say.
Well, but that's because it should be Zebra Xemnas.
Thank you, Richie. Oh boy, here we go.
I love how you do the first phase and it's single notes, and then when he splits into two, it turns into double notes. That's so cool.
Why don't you get good? You should be playing on proud mode.
See, the Kingdom Hearts fan in me is seeing these projectiles being shot and Sora guarding them, and they're not, being deflected, and I'm kind of freaking out. Because whenever I see projectiles in Kingdom Hearts, it's like, guess who's getting those sent right back to him?
It's Xemnas, just in case that wasn't clear.
Also the fact that this is Kingdom Hearts 1 Sora, which is another thing where it's like, oh, that's a bit weird.
Well, got it towards the end. Darkness of the Unknown. What a tune, what a banger. It's a good final boss, but I think out of the three mainline games, it might be my least favourite. I don't think Xemnas is all that fun to fight in KH2.
I really like the phases before the final boss. I think fighting the giant dragon, fighting even the Keyblade armor, which we didn't even know what Keyblade armor was back then, is really cool. It's a bit weird that the final part is like, it's not the best.
I feel like Free's final boss is the best, but maybe a bit more pomp and circumstance, a bit of grandeur. Xehanort as a blimp, maybe, because you need to have a big old chungus to fight. Would probably have improved people's opinions, and that's a very shallow thing, but Kingdom Hearts' opinions can be very shallow, let's be honest. Yeah, Team 3D!
Why are we getting them now? I don't get it, but alright.
Maybe because you can only have one team unlocked for one thing, so...
I guess.
Yeah, World of Electron. I'm a big fan of the new songs in Recoded, honestly.
Yeah, actually, listening to the two here, I was like, oh, these are really good songs. Of course, limited to the fact that it was the DS sound card.
Have you played Recoded, Rich?
Of course I've played Recoded. The only one I haven't played is the original Chain of Memories.
Have you played VCast?
I've not played that. That is true. There is that one that I have not played.
Exactly. I put a good number of hours into Recoded, not just because it's Kingdom Hearts, but I remember, because like it has a very similar thing to both KH3 and Dream Drop Distance, where once you beat the game, you unlock like these battle portals everywhere, and that's where like some of the toughest challenges lie. And I remember getting all the way up to like the last one, and the only problem was that they have like these criteria to get good points on them, and one of them is like play at night, and it's like, well, I'm not gonna wait around till night to play it, because I want to play it now. And I think I literally just went to wait for night, forgot about the game, didn't play it, and then it slowly just faded away on me.
Kind of a piss take, really. It's like, you know, don't arbitrarily gate your content.
I get why, because, you know, you get these like kind of random objectives to get bonus points and bonus stuff, and it's like some of them are neat, some of them are annoying, but it's like you can sort of see where the challenge is. But that one's just literally like, hope you're in the right time zone, dude.
You know, it's funny, the DS games kind of complement and mirror each other. Like, Days is a bit bland gameplay-wise, but has a pretty interesting story. But Recoded has much snappier gameplay, but the story is kind of arse.
Yep. It is like mirror images. Although I will say, I think Recoded has my... Oh no, never mind, it's Days I was thinking of. But I was gonna say, my favorite moment of the DS, which is where you're playing as Roxas at the Coliseum, and you're fighting the guard armor, and then you look at the bottom screen, and you see Sora fighting the guard armor with your exact motions. That was probably the coolest use of the DS dual screens, and it's a damn shame that, like, yeah, like, it's for that one time only and never again. Alright,
now we get to the good Coded song. Not that Wonder of Electron isn't great, but it's a bit too slow for my blood. I need something a bit faster paced.
Some crazy electronic beats.
I've heard people describe this as Battle Network music, and I would not disagree.
Oh god, it totally is. You're right. Speaking of, shoutouts to the 20th anniversary Battle Network anniversary stuff going on, where they're recruiting for partners. They just announced a model kit for EXE. Oh, I love it.
Come on, Battle Network collection for Switch.
Well, let's just say that when they did the same looking for partners for the Mega Man X thing, that's when we got the X Legacy collection, so let's see what happens.
I mean, I know I've technically already played the best one, according to some people, in 6, but I still want to go back and play the others.
I mean, 4 is right there. I love 4. People hate 4. I love 4. It is undoubtedly one of the worst ones, and yet I still love it, because it was my first.
Now, technically, since there are Heartless here, this whole area should be, like, blood red, not you've beaten its blue.
Oh, right, that was how it worked, yes. Yeah, I love when that breakdown happens on the keyboard, that do, it's so good. In general, I think, yeah, I mean, because, spoilers, this is literally it for Coded.
Yeah.
I put out on Twitter where I was like, you know, there's literally only 2 songs. Is Coded the DMC2 of Kingdom Hearts? Thinking mostly about how it glosses over... Like, because when there's that in DMC5 where you have the thing where it goes over the story, DMC2 is a single line of, and then Dante went to an island. Alright, let's move on, you know? So it was like, because someone pointed out, well, yeah, it's because it's a recap game, and so they're recapping, in this game, a recap game. Okay, alright.
And we've already had a recap game.
Exactly. It's probably a good job this is the last one we're playing tonight, because my brain is just gone.
It's funny, though, because, like, you kind of have... Kingdom Hearts has almost as many recap games as there are games.
No, that's not true.
Well, what I'm saying is though, like, because arguably, Chain of Memories is a recap game, you know. Then arguably, Days is in terms of the worlds, and arguably Coded is in terms of the worlds, and arguably Mom is in terms of, well, everything.
You know what? You've bested me in combat, so I'm going to ignore that you had a point at all.
What a good song, though.
Good one to end on for this session, I believe. Oh yeah, gonna have to play it again anyway, which is fine, because I'm gonna bump that shit up to Proud, I'm gonna bump the fuck out.
A strange entry was found in the journal that chronicled Sora's adventures.
You know, maybe it wasn't
To
your
investigate,
journal after
the
all,
journal
Jiminy.
was
Have you
converted
considered that
to
you
data
own multiple
and
journals and you
filled
just
with
lost the
bugs.
correct one?
Mickey called on Data Sora.
Exactly,
to help
no
him
answers.
restore
This
the world
little
inside the
diminutive
journal.
cricket has nothing.
As he restored the datascape, more
The
and
fact
more
that they went out of their
strange
way
messages kept
to
appearing.
turn Data Sora
Mickey
into an
and the
entirely
others should
separate
have been
character
watching from
who
the other side of the
follows his
screen,
own arc
but
is like,
somewhere along
it's
way,
the most
Data
Kingdom
Riku,
Hearts thing I can
the
think of
embodiment
for
the
making
journal,
what was a
was put
mobile
into the datascape
game.
to help solve the mystery of the
I agree.
message.
Also, in some areas, I kind of like him better than regular Sora.
Maleficent and Pete were
Yeah,
having
'cause
all
he-
sorts of trouble with
He
their
goes
plan to
about
take over the
it
real
differently,
world through the datascape.
and he even at some points calls things out as like, hey, this is kind of dumb. Hey, why am I just a data construct? This kind of sucks.
Also, Riku has bugs in him.
He defeated Sora's hard task, the bug in the data that had corrupted the
God,
journal.
it's, yeah, that's a line, I
It
forgot
should have
about
been the
that.
end of this
That's
journey.
doubly funny if you follow VP
Mickey
memes and know
received
about
word that
Masuda.
a door to a new
Oh,
world had
I
appeared.
don't.
That's good. I'm not gonna
Anyone who
repeat it on
entered the
stream
datascape.
here. Mickey being in
On the other
fucking
side of
Traverse
the door
Town,
was
that was a
Castle
big
Oblivion.
source of mystery back in the
Led
day.
by a figure in black, Data Sora repeatedly
Man, I remember
related
when
the
I
pain
first
residing
streamed
in his
Recoded.
heart.
I think I streamed it
If
the
he
first
kept
time I played it,
holding on to
and I
that
was nearly
pain,
falling
he would be
asleep when
dragged
we got to
down
the
into
Castle
darkness.
Oblivion part. It was like, oh
But
god,
Data Sora
can you just
realized
finish
that
already?
his pain was what
Yeah,
tied
because it's
his
weird,
memories
because
together.
you reach what you
He
think
swore
is the
to
game's
figure
conclusion. It's
brought
like,
this,
surprise,
but he
you have
accepted
all of
the
Chain of Memories to go through. And
The
even the
hurt
way
of
you
those
do it, where
connected
you
to
like
Sora
have
remains
rooms
dormant in
where
his
you
heart.
can go through the
to
plot
help
of the
find a way to
games,
face and
but
heal
you
that
can mess
pain,
up the stories for
Naminé had
alternate
left
endings.
mysterious
It's
journal
such a
entries.
weird
Their
choice.
hurting will be mended when you return to end it.
No, that's actually
Mickey
not
and
true.
Data
Their hurting
Sora
will be
now
mended
knew the true
when you
meaning of
A
those
triple
words.
plus everything and full chain it.
Data Sora thanked Naminé, and they said their goodbyes.
So what, it's not Data Naminé, it's
Mickey
actually
wrote
Naminé?
Sora a letter detailing the
She's a
events that
witch.
took place
As
on
we know,
Datascape.
witches
You
can
are
just
who
be
you
on the
are
internet.
because of those people.
Okay.
They need you, and now the door to your next journey is ready to be opened.
But not until next time, and that's when we begin Birth by Sleep and Dream Drop Distance, y'all.
Alright.
Thank you, Richie, for being obliging. I do appreciate it.
It's alright.
Oh, he's,
Glancing at the door.
oh no! I'm gonna fucking die after this. So we'll see you next time, where there will be a different commentator in my place, most likely.
It'll be Data and Tom.
He'll probably be more interesting and likable than the actual Anton. Alright guys, see you next time for more of Melody of Memory. Bye bye.